Hello, I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to Bred to Win as we approach the spring of 2022. Coming up this week, the sire of this year's Golden Slipper winner Fireburn, Rebel Dane at Widden Stud. And continuing our series looking at the training of new and existing staff in the thoroughbred breeding industry, a really encouraging story showing a leadership training day put on by Thoroughbred Breeders New South Wales, Hunter Thoroughbred Breeders, and assisted by Racing New South Wales and the TBA. Plus Golden Slipper winning trainer Michael Freedman in Arrowfield Studs, horse who made you love racing. First, let's get up to date with the Aushorse news of the week. With yearling sale season behind us, preparations are ramping up for the Inglis Ready to Race sale to be held on Tuesday, October 11. Inglis has released the catalogue of 289 two-year-olds with successful vendors returning with good numbers. Blake Ryan Racing has 29 entered, Will Forrester's WBF Thoroughbreds 19 and Hinnick Hoopy's Hanover Lodge 18, while there are strong entries again from New Zealand vendors such as Cheltenham Stables and Aushorse Lodge.
100 to go, Mr. Brightside bridging the gap with I Am Superman.
The lead-up races to the big spring features continued on the weekend, and we start at Caulfield, where last year's Doncaster winner for Ben and JD Hayes, Mr. Brightside, showed his fighting qualities with an ears pin-back first-up victory in the Group 2 PB Lawrence Stakes. By the CS Hayes Stakes winning half-brother to Helmet and Epaulette, Bull Bars, Mr. Brightside is from a Tavistock mare. His fourth dam is Sir Patrick Hogan's magnificent breed shaper Tyona. Bull Bars now stands at Orange Court in South Australia.
Giga Kick a neck away, Alpha One digs in.
Eye-catching three-year-old Giga Kick was an impressive winner of the Group 3 Vane Stakes, a first stakes winner for his trainer Clayton Douglas. The gelding was bred and raced by Jonathan Munns and is by a stallion he also bred, the son of Redout's Choice, Scissor Kick. Giga Kick's dam rekindled applause has left a rich legacy, including her all-stakes winning grandson Alabama Express, now standing at Yulong Farm. And Giga Kick is now unbeaten, 3 from 3. Regally bred Scissor Kick won the up-and-coming stakes, the Rosebud and the Eskimo Prince. He stood at Arrowfield Stud before moving to stand in France in 2019.
Spacewalk in front from Zuccarino. Spacewalk. Zuccarino drives on the inside.
At Rosehill, four-time champion Australian stallion Snitzel began the new season with another blue-blooded son winning a stakes race as Zuccarino took out the Rosebud over high-class Exosphere Colt Spacewalk. He was the 124th stakes winner for Snitzel, and his dam Walk With Attitude hails from the family of star European stallions Invincible Spirit and Kodiak, and her yearlings have sold up to $1.55 million. Zuccarino himself was sold at the Magic Millions National Yearling Sale. He topped that sale when sold by John Muir's Milburn Creek to Suman Hedge for $500,000. Hedge also buying the Colts half-sister this year for $800,000. Another race with a top-class honour roll of horses who go on to Group 1 success in the Eastern States in the spring. The Spring Stakes in Adelaide this year saw success go to Calypso King, the David Jolly trained stablemate of Behemoth. Barbados is a grey son of Redout's Choice and dual Group 1 winning granddaughter of Emancipation, Virage de Fortune. Calypso King was sold by Duckatoon Park, where Barbados stands, at the 2018 Magic Millions Adelaide sale. He's a half-brother to Tasmanian Oaks winner La Fantastique. Behemoth, the Spring Stakes winner the last 2 years before Group 1 successes in 2 Memsie Stakes and a Sir Rupert Clark, jumped slowly and was never in the contest, with the winner also owned by Grand Syndicates. The crossover between the racing world and the thoroughbred show world is getting back to its former strength, with the Supreme Lead Thoroughbred class won by a former $1.9 million yearling Supercharge. A magnificent type as a yearling, the son of I Am Invincible and Electric Dreams didn't reach the racetrack due to injury, but he's giving his owners huge joy as a champion of the show ring. Gloaming Stakes and Caulfield Classic winner Thinkin' Big was named Champion Gelding. And the first 2-year-old trial of the year in Australia was won by a daughter of first season Queensland sire Performer. Mashani Star won the trial at Deagon in Queensland. Performer, a son of Exceed and Excel, won the Breeders' Plate and Canonbury Stakes and stands at Acres Farm at a fee of only $6,600.
bound for home, 100 metres to go.
The Inglis graduate of the week came in the Corsette Stakes, the Group 3 for the just-turned 3-year-old fillies, and won by a daughter of Randwick, Bound for Home. The filly was a $50,000 Inglis Premier yearling sale buy for Archie Alexander and Jeremy Rogers, and her dam Homebird by Rothsay is a close relation to Religify and Silent Witness. Her sire Randwick, a close relation to Redute's Choice by Encosta de Lago, stands for $22,000 this season at Victoria's Widden Stud, and Bound for Home was one of 6 winners on the day for the son of Sliding Cube. The name Journeyman is quite appropriate for a 13-year-old stallion who sired a Golden Slipper winner and now finds himself at the pointy end of the commercial breeding world. Fireburn sire Rebel Dane is all set to make the most of the opportunities to be afforded to him. Now he's ensconced at the historic Widden Stud in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales. And it's great to see the wonderful sire of this year's Golden Slipper winner, Fireburn, Rebel Dane, here at Widden Stud, given, of course, the great history that your farm has with Golden Slipper winners.
Yeah, a real thrill to have another sire of Slipper winners, and of course, champion 2-year-old sire. For him to be, to get a Slipper winner to be champion 2-year-old sire from such limited opportunity just shows you what a prepotent stallion he is, and his ability to really upgrade his mares is very, very evident early days.
Rebel Dane right over on the inside.
Well, it's really interesting the way Louis Mahiker of Laurel Oak Bloodstock and Steve Grant with Silverdale and Ken Lowe, they've loved this horse, they really do. And it's no surprise to see that he's done well as a stallion. But as a racehorse, a dual Group 1 winner, he did it all on the track and people tend to forget.
A remarkable sprinter and a tough Aussie sprinter. Gary Portelli had such a time with this horse, and as the owners did, and they've always had such enormous faith in him, but he never let them down at the elite level, week in, week out, throughout his career. He earned them nearly 2.5 million, as you say, multiple Group 1 winner, and took them on a hell of a journey. So it's great that they've always had such faith in him. They've always supported him, and then to see Louis in those Laurel Oak colours, successful on the highest stage again, back in the Golden Slipper and into the sires and all but the Triple Crown. She's some filly, Fireburn, and what a thrill for them.
Explain for people that don't understand. I mean, he was standing at Glen Eden, started in Victoria, and then he came back. He was at Silverdale just for a little while, which is a broodmare farm. It's not a stallion farm. What the reasoning is for this horse being in the Hunter Valley? I mean, some people would say, well, why couldn't he stay there? But he is now a very commercial stallion, and there are realities that go along with that.
Yeah, obviously as a racehorse, and he's a bit of a journeyman, and certainly at stud it's been the same. He started out at Swettenham with Adam Sangster and then went across to Glen Eden. I guess the owners had made the decision before the Slipper and before we certainly got involved with Silverdale and most of the owners' mares up here, and that they thought he'd be better placed in the Hunter, and they wanted him back in New South Wales to sire a Slipper winner and be champion too. Also, there's enormous interest in him. Unfortunately for us, we were able to secure him and as a future stallion for Widden and to join our strong roster. So yeah, we've felt really honoured to be a part of the Rebel Dane story now, and very pleased to be able to buy a small interest in him and now be involved.
And Rebel Dane, I mean, he is in the mould of, say, a Spirit of Boom. These are stallions, they weren't rushed off to stud early, and they won the 2 Group 1s as older horses. There's something to be said for it, isn't there?
I think that's a real thing in the breed, is people are looking at the breed as a whole, and they're looking at soundness. We do want horses that train on. The cost to get to the track is substantial, and people, I think, are getting a little bit wary of the squibby horses that are not going on, and they're really looking to take a horse on that'll take them a long way. And certainly Rebel Dane's that type of stallion, that he did that as himself, and I'm sure we'll see that with his progeny as well. Lovely, tough, sound horses that'll really train on, and there's so much prize money to be won. You want a horse that's got some longevity.
Coming through is Fireburn with a big run off the fence.
And that's what you see in Fireburn, don't you? His Golden Slipper winning daughter. She's in the mould of her sire in that she looks to be a tough, solid sort of filly who will, you would imagine, go on and do more great things.
Certainly hope so. She had a lot on them as a 2-year-old. I think she was a very dominant 2-year-old, the clear champion 2-year-old of the generation. So I'd be really hopeful that she can come back. I know she certainly looks the type. She doesn't really need to improve much. If she comes back as good as she is, I think she's going to be really hard to beat as a 3-year-old again. You know, she does look to have, like her sire, that big, strong, bold head and really genuine eye. And I think heading into the spring, Gary Portelli, Louis and all the connections, would be really excited to see what she can bring.
Rhapsody Rose and Subterranean down the outside.
She's not the one-trick pony, I guess, in that he's also getting other, really good horses out, in, that are doing it on the track as well. A lot of them being supported by Louis and Laurel Oak, but there are others too.
From just the 18 runners, and you remember that, he's had a fraction of the runners of so many of the other stallions. His first 2 books only covered 26 mares, so he's really doing it the hard way. To already have the 8 winners, another 7 place getters, and 3 stakes horses. Subterranean, he himself is a stakes winner, and of course a good 2-year-old as well. So he's getting those big, strong 2-year-olds. Lloyd's Crown, another stakes performer at Flemington. Rebel Shadow looks like a really future top liner. He's already won the 3 races and he looks like a horse going places. From a very small sample size, as I said, he's upgrading these mares and he's delivering on so many fronts. So a really, really exciting horse, and who knows where it's going to finish, but certainly he's got off to a hell of a start, and now he's going to see some serious quality mares and far greater quantity. The breeders have really flocked to him, so it's a big upgrade for him, and really makes his job much easier now to really stamp himself in the top size of Australia going forward.
He looks so relaxed and chilled here. It's interesting, his sire stood just up the road at Bayrami, California Dane, and he had huge speed that Rebel Dane's obviously inherited and sort of passed it on as well. You're going to get that support from the Louis and the Steves and everyone as far as the mares that are going to be coming to him, and obviously some of yours too.
Yeah, no, we're keen to support him with some really nice mares, as are the breeders of the Hunter. He was one of the first stallions booked full in the Hunter on the back of the way he's upgraded his mares, Slipper Success. As a breeder, you're dreaming of breeding a Golden Slipper winner, and to see him do it, as I said, from such limited opportunity, gives everyone really a great sense of hope and excitement, and I'm sure there'll be lots more great stories to come with Rebel Dane.
A G1 Goldmine summation of the best nicks with Rebel Dane through his sire California Dane shows Sir Tristram's dam Isolt appearing with nearly 16% success, including a 10% ratio of Group 1 winners to runners. Nijinsky, Sir Ivor and Mr Prospector also appear, while from low numbers Woodman and More Than Ready achieve exceptional results. Successful matchups with Rebel Dane's dam sire More Than Ready also come via Medaglia d'Oro, High Chaparral with an 11% ratio of Group 1 winners to runners, and interestingly the Danehill cross back comes out at 4% through the sire line and a 1.8% cross back through the dam line. So great to see Rebel Dane getting so much support, and just wait for the new crops to come. Time for a break on Bred to Win. Coming up, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week, and a great way to encourage staff to really love their work in the thoroughbred breeding industry.
Zoy's making ground, but Major Bill just in front.
Cambridge Stud was delighted to see the offspring of their European champion Al Manzour, as expected, going on with the job at 3 after his success with his first crop 2-year-olds. His highly promising colt Manzour is now on a stakes path after winning one of the season's first Sydney Metropolitan 3-year-old races on Saturday. He was sold by Beamer Thoroughbreds for $340,000 at last year's Magic Millions yearling sale and bought by Chris Waller and Guy Mulcaster. Al Manzour, a triple Group 1 winning son of Wootton Bassett, stands for $50,000 New Zealand dollars plus GST at Cambridge Stud. Continuing our series, looking at staff training in the Australian thoroughbred breeding industry, here we look at the New South Wales Workforce Development Project set up by Thoroughbred Breeders New South Wales, Hunter Thoroughbred Breeders and Racing New South Wales. Also supported by the TBA, Agri Futures and Training Services New South Wales, we took our Bred to Win camera to a recent leadership training session, and the outcomes for those attending are enormous.
If I'm a J or a judgmental person, I want everything well organised and orderly. If I'm a P, a perceiver, I seek to understand it. I want to interact in a flexible, spontaneous and adaptable way.
John, it was really fascinating seeing some of the members of the thoroughbred breeding industry in the Hunter Valley attending the course today you were giving on leadership. How did you find the group? Because they seem so much like sponges, just wanting to learn.
The really great thing as a trainer is that you get people who want to learn and want to apply it and want to tell you issues that they're facing. And I found, and I think this is about my third or fourth thoroughbred course, they're all like that. They just want to find out. There's so much out there that can help them be better managers, work better with their people, not just as employees, but also as people. And so they love that sort of thing because it resonates with them as human beings.
So you're with Foresights, obviously.
Yeah.
Just explain a bit about how it works.
And the really good thing about, for me, is that they're doing accredited programs. Now, it's tougher, there's more accessible tasks, but they get something in their personal toolkit no matter where they go, what industry they go to. This belongs to them for the rest of their days. So that's been supported funding and it's a pathway for them.
And there haven't been these pathways traditionally in the breeding industry. So I was really interested in some of the students there today, and they range in ages and different genders and experience and everything. So what your take was on them as a group? Because, you know, a lot of what you're talking about is a totally new concept.
It is. And a lot of them haven't come from high levels of education, left school early, not many university courses, so a lot of these things that we talk about are foreign to them. But once they can see the application, once they can see that benefit, A, to find out about themselves, and B, to be able to transfer that to work-life situations, they just lap it up. Yeah. And one of the things that I always reflect back as a trainer, you look at attrition rates, and so you start with a certain number and what you end up finishing, because it's a hard yakka. They work really hard today, they'll work really hard the next time we meet. And last course, no one dropped out. And this course, I would hope they'll all be there on Thursday. So it's sort of like being a fisher person. You bait that hook and you've got a short time for them to think that this is worthwhile.
I got involved it was put forward when I was on holidays, my name was put forward. So yeah, that's what this whole industry is about, developing and, you know, gaining new skills every day. So yeah, no, I'm delighted I've been put forward for this course. It's great.
I'm so passionate about this. Being only at Arrowfield for 6 months and them coming to me and saying, we want you to do this course, so that's beneficial to myself and them, that couldn't mean more to me.
And I think they're all flattered that often it's their employer to put them forward.
That's right.
Which gives them enormous confidence that they're actually, you know, valued in their workplace.
And that's one of the things that this course is all built around, making them feel valued, making them feel that there is pathways for them, but also making sure that the people they work with, they make feel valued. And a lot of the work we did today was really self-exploratory, looking at themselves, and it was really interesting to note when they had to do 5 strengths, 5 weaknesses, they could all knock out 5 weaknesses like that. But to get to 5 of their strengths, that was really tough for them. And so that's when we talked about self-awareness and how we can explore that a little bit more to find out a bit more about ourselves. Everyone likes to find out about themselves because it makes them a better human being, a better employer or employee, and that's why this program really resonates with them, because they're skills they can take with them.
Balfour, you're obviously very well known in this Hunter region as a gun farrier for so many in the thoroughbred industry and the studs. But this sort of training has never really been done before, has it?
No, Caroline. It's as long as I've been here, it's only in the last few years that with COVID out of the road, that you saw courses being made available by the Hunter Thoroughbred Breeders Association. I saw this course come up on their website. It really interested me, the leadership side. I read through it and I went, this is something I'm interested in, because when my body says no more farriery, I don't want to go away from the industry. I'd like to have another stepping stone within the industry that maybe I could go into. So it interests me, that the course, and delighted to be here and allowed to do it.
Learned basically a lot about emotional intelligence today, and that'll just set us up for how we deal with ourselves, getting to know ourselves a bit more, and then how we can deal with people a little bit better. You can put it into daily life, so you can, like how you deal with people in difficult situations, and you never know when you'll need these sort of skills, so you don't.
I'm very self-aware, but more so learning how to put that into like other people's feelings and being aware of other people. So everybody's different, every situation is different, so this course is just sort of providing the tools to deal with those different situations and learn and grow from them.
Especially in our industry, because we're sort of a standoffish kind of about let's hug him and emotions, and it'll give greater confidence to young people. Identify that he's just shy. We've got to direct him in the right road rather than say he's no good, get rid of him. And that's what the industry needs, is people that can identify that. And the managers here today, it's great to see them here today.
And if they understand, yes, I respond much better in a really open, go environment, they can understand that not everyone's like them, and some of the people they work with just like to find out what they have to do and go away and do it and not be part of the bunch. Well, hopefully that learning they can then put into place when they're at work. Jordan, what were you? You were strong, Jay. 11 strong. Okay, you've decided to organise a picnic with your work team, your Jays, right? You love things organised. What's your email look like, Brad, to all your team members?
The farriers and the vets on the farms, we actually probably deal more with the staff than the managers, because we're in that tight environment with them. And this leadership thing and the way we're talking today and to identify people, there's often times over the years I've had to go to a manager and say, you maybe need to help out such that they're not feeling well today. And when I say feeling well, in a good space. I just found this very interesting, and it's a side I like. As you know, I'm a sort of a personable type person, and I feel it would be of great benefit to me down the road.
Back to the fact that they're accredited units, so those accredited units can fit into a whole host. So all of a sudden, they've got a leg up into the Australian National Qualifications framework, and they can think, well, I may not stay in the horse industry for life. There's other industries that I can carry those recognition processes with me, or I can stay and I've got all these pathways that I can follow. That's what people need, and they need the belief that I can continue to improve, I can continue to grow, which will give me greater job satisfaction, greater career security. And I think that's what you're seeing translated into the low attrition rate of these programs. They have difficulty in telling people when they're not measuring up. There's some absolute standouts that no matter what they were taught or how they were taught, they would still be really good at leading people, because that's their human nature. Others in the middle, the bigger group, with some skills, they'll be really good leaders. Yeah, and there's some there that don't want to lead, will never have the confidence, but this enables them to see a little bit of themselves and maybe understand why they don't aspire to be the supervisor.
And what would you like to do in the future? I mean, do you want to train, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, that would like to be my end goal, but you know, if I just assistant trainer, foreman, being in the industry is just a pleasure in itself.
Yeah, and I guess this gives you confidence to be in a management position.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, the tools, like being provided the tools to do that.
I have a great passion for the thoroughbred industry. I'd like to think that maybe there's a role that I can step into when I just say the tools go back into the cupboard.
And as I start the day with, these people, most of them have a calling. It's this tough job. Long hours, and there was 2 people there from the mining industry who would have been earning probably 5 times as much in the mining industry with no skills, and they said no, we couldn't stand it. It's not a person industry. We wanted to come back and get involved in this. And that's the sort of industry it is. These people are dedicated, unbelievably. They've got a calling. Make a little bit of polish on the outside, give them some opportunities, some pathways, give them the pat on the back by nominating them to do training like this, and they say, wow, they grow 6 foot. Their boss gets it back 5-fold, because the boss has said, I'm paying you for 3 days to go and get enriched in these areas. It's a no-brainer.
So many great angles for getting staff trained in the breeding industry, and further courses are being held at Wagga Wagga, Warwick Farm, Newcastle and in the Southern Highlands, with other states set to follow on and bring a great level of professionalism and pride into the industry's workforce. Coming up on Bred to Win, Golden Slipper winning trainer Michael Freedman in Arrowfield Studs, the horse who made you love racing.
Without a doubt it'd be Kingston Town. You know, as a kid growing up in Yass, I can remember quite often when he was coming back from campaigning in Melbourne to spell somewhere nearby us, I think in Cootamundra. The float driver would often grab me and get me to come and have a look over the door, and yeah, he was an amazing horse, and he definitely was the one that, you know, piqued my interest in the game initially.
Yeah, but it was year after year, wasn't it, that he'd keep coming back?
Yeah, to win 3 Cox plates in a row back then, and I think from memory he carried 60 kilos in a Melbourne Cup and just got run down, you know, in the last couple of strides. I mean, he was a phenomenal horse, and, you know, his record sort of stands the test of time.
Yeah, it sure does. And then you were associated with another great champion, Mahogany, going from, you know, a Lightning Stakes win to a Derby. Tell us about him and how that made you really want to be a trainer yourself.
Again, I was only young, and he was, when he came into the stable as a yearling, I was sort of put in charge of looking after him with a bunch of others, and he was a cheeky little bloke, you know, as a colt. He needed gelding in the spring. Just a phenomenal horse. To think he could win 2 derbies and 2 lightnings, I don't think we'll ever see that again. You know, it was just such a versatile horse. Once he was a gelding, he was an absolute pleasure to look after, and I did a lot of travel to Brisbane with him, so a lot of fond memories with him.
Is it the same excitement when you train a Golden Slipper winner, for instance?
Yeah, I think, and maybe that's part of the reason why I do enjoy training 2-year-olds and young horses as much as I do, but I think it's, and this is a great time of year now where you've sort of got a bunch of horses and you don't know where the next, hopefully the next star or Group 1 winner or Golden Slipper winner might come from. And, you know, I think that's part of the you know, the attraction to the whole game. For me it is anyway. You know, you can sort of start out with a young horse, you don't know whether it can be potentially a superstar. So I think it's that part of it that really keeps me sort of motivated and interested.
That's it for this episode of Bred to Win. Join me again next week as we look at the continued success of the Invincible Spirit sire line in Australia as Arrowfield Stud's Shalar produces more stakes winners. And it's not all about the stallions. We visit some breed-shaping brood mares at Sedgenhoe Stud. That and much more next week. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.